Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the suspension of the Dukes by the Oba of Benin, also about possible causes, the aftermath, and the outlook. We'll try to be as objective as we can, so let's get started.
Those chiefs, they are renegade, they are rebellious, and they are trying to show their strength.
Now, what is all this tam-tam making waves about the Oba being sued? And how are these dukes renegades? Now, in case you don't know, the Oba of Benin is the traditional ruler and the custodian of the culture of the Benin people, and the dukes of the kingdom report to him directly. The institution of the Oba has existed since the 12th century. Then, being very powerful, the institution today is more concentrated on cultural matters, as in many other royal houses around the world. The dukes, or the Enogies as the Benin people would call them. The Duke of Evbo-Obanosa, Abudu, Prof Gregory Akenzua, and his counterpart, Edomwonyi Ogiegbae, the Duke of Egbaen-Siluko, were suspended by His Royal Majesty, Omo N'Oba N'Edo, Uku Akpolokpolo, Oba Ewuare II, the Oba of Benin, sometime in 2023, and they both had challenged this suspension by the Oba in the Benin High Court. While it is strange that the Oba of Benin is sued, I couldn't find any precedents. It shows that Nigeria has evolved and that no one is above the law, which means everyone and anyone can be taken to court, just like the former US president. Also, we know of many cases in Nigeria where royals are dethroned for whatever reasons. But in the Benin Kingdom folklore, the Oba is said to view everyone, including his siblings and family members, as his subjects, who must endure the same governorship as everyone else in the kingdom after taking up the throne. It is interesting to know that one of the plaintiffs, Prof Gregory Akenzua, is the Oba's uncle, a younger brother to the Oba Ewuare II, the father of the current Oba. I would have wished for such matters to be resolved internally by the chiefs and the royal council, and not in the open by a court. Taking a matter to court, in my opinion, only means something in the tradition may have derailed. Now, why did the Oba suspend these dukes? This is not the first time a duke is suspended in Benin, but it is the first time a duke is actually challenging the Oba openly, as they probably feel that their suspension was unlawful. This is why they postulated in their case that only the state government has the authority to suspend them and not the monarch. I find such cases very interesting because it is the opinion of the dukes against the royal house's judgment, and being that there is no precedence and there may be no proper chapter addressing this particular issue in the Chieftaincy Matters Law of 1979, the outcome can only make things clearer for future events. The parties involved will then know their jurisdiction. Secondly, I believe the judiciary can intercede if their suspensions is biased or baseless. But I personally don't see the government being able to suspend or appoint dukes, but that is left for the court to decide. At least after the presidential election in Nigeria 2023, it is clear that the court judgments may just have a different outcome than we expect, as the court weighs both parties' concerns, so it remains thrilling. We are not able to see the entire statement of claim by the claimants in the suit number B29005-2023. It would have been very interesting to know why exactly they are suing the royal house and the government. But based on the information available, some of the reasons for the suspension could be: 1. Over allegations of leading an organized revolt or rebellion against the Benin throne. Well, this statement alone is not enough information to back a suspension. It is all alleged, and I don't understand why an uncle at his age would revolt against his nephew on the throne. 2. They supported the state government's policy that now pays a 5% allocation for the traditional institution directly to the local government areas that make up the Benin Kingdom. unlike the previous practice where the Oba got it all and then disbursed it to the Enigies in the 7 local governments. The state government has also justified its actions that they were in line with the Chieftaincy Matters Law of 1979 under the then Bendel state. If this is a fact, then this cannot be a reason for suspending anyone. 3. They supported the creation of a parallel Benin Traditional Council across the 7 local government areas in the Edo South Senatorial District in Benin Kingdom. This would lead to more power distribution and render the Oba less powerful. Professor Akenzua is alleged to have spearheaded this venture, requesting the government to constitute a parallel Benin Traditional Council (BDC), which is considered an outright disrespect and disregard for the palace, because by tradition, the Oba of Benin is the chairman of the Benin Traditional Council. Well, this is, in my opinion, the first dispute that holds water, depending on your vantage point, but still not enough for a court case. Apparently, some dukes or Enigies dragged the Edo State government to court with the case number B187-2023 over the creation of a local government traditional council. This shows that there must have been a concrete plan, but there is a video of the Oba thanking the governor for not yielding to these demands to create a parallel Benin Traditional Council, which means that the plan was not actualized. But the dukes involved have denied any wrongdoing by exercising their rights to freedom of speech and writing a letter to the governor of Edo State alongside fellow Enigies, in which they called for the governor to exercise the power conferred on him by the law, which they believe would lead to more rapid development of rural Edo State, particularly Edo South Senatorial District. Why this is true? It would mean creating a parallel traditional institution wherein all the communities where the Oba has authority will now be disintegrated into traditional institutions with their own traditional council, technically dividing the Great Benin Kingdom. 4. The people and elders across the communities in the jurisdiction of the Enigies that were suspended apparently complained to the Oba of Benin that the dukes were not acting right, meaning they failed to perform their duties. It is said that the Oba of Benin then summoned the Enigies to his palace to find out what the problem was, which I think is the right thing to have done. But apparently and allegedly, the dukes did not show up. Now, if this is a fact, I would say the Oba acted well by summoning to hear from the horse's mouth, and if the duke did not deem it fit to go to the Oba, then the suspension can be justified. Now, the suspended dukes would want the court to determine if the Omo N'Oba can exercise the power to suspend a registered traditional chief when they believe the law vests the authority on the State Executive Committee, and whether the Oba of Benin has the authority to suspend them in violation of their rights to fair hearing guaranteed by Section 36 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They further asserted that they were properly registered under Section 25(2) of the Traditional Rulers and Chieftaincy Law, and that the Edo State government recognizes them.
Those chiefs, they are renegade, they are rebellious, and they are trying to show their strength. But we know that the Benin tradition is guided by law.
Which law are you talking about now? The traditional law or the state laws? If these laws were clearly postulated, then we would have a very simple case.
So, Oba affirms and confirms you as a duke. Who can confirm you can suspend you. I
do agree with this statement actually. But if the dukes think the suspension was unlawful, I think they should and can seek redress at the court. And since you get financed by the state, I think the state definitely has a role to play in this institution. Additionally, the dukes insisted that the Oba has no authority to seize power granted to the State Executive Council by the law, by citing Section 28 of the same Traditional Ruler and Chieftaincy Law, which states that only the State Executive Council may sanction them if they are determined to be incompetent. adding that anything to the contrary is a usurpation of the powers of the State Executive Council.
This is a case dead on arrival. If you don't believe in any institution, you don't take your case there, right?
Nope, you wouldn't. But these dukes believe in the state and in the tradition, and this is why they're taking their case to court.
Can you imagine a subject of the institution, traditional institution of Benin, Oba Palace, taking his case to the court for redress, or rather for inquiry? Is that not stupidity? That's stupidity, absolute stupidity. You understand me?
I do. Like I said earlier, I would have wished for a closed-door resolution and not an open court hearing, but it seems that there is no other option.
Okay, the court did not make you the duke over your dukedom. The dukedom you supersede for His Royal Majesty, for the Palace of Benin. It is in His Royal Majesty magnanimity and fatherly disposition you were chosen to become the duke of that dukedom. So you supervises the dukedom on behalf of His Royal Majesty, and now your community came out to say you don't fit into that position that you've been given, and you didn't even ask.
This is where the dukes lost me, if true.
You felt unconcerned before the palace. I said, okay. The palace did not even say you are no longer the duke over the kingdom. Say you are no longer the duke, pending on how long it's going to take you to come and explain yourself, because your people, members of your community, has put up a case against you in the royal palace.
According to this statement, they are not fully suspended, so there has got to be a discussion sometime to resolve this issue on hand.
Yourself and Duke of Egbaen-Siluko took the institution to court. The institution did not make you whom you are. The institution did not make you duke over the dukedoms that you supersede for the palace. It is the palace. To have seek redress, you should have come to the palace to ask, and yet you took the institution to court.
I fully concur to the redress at the palace, but there is something there that nobody is saying. Why will the chief go to court, a lengthy and disturbing process, instead of just going to the palace? It doesn't add up.
That's stupidity, arrant nonsense. So that's why I said at the issue that it's a case dead on arrival. It is out of the jurisdiction of the court to decide or to adjudicate.
I share a different opinion, bro. Laws are there to maintain peace in a society, which includes everyone and every institution. The courts are there to settle cases of the citizens and institutions within its jurisdiction. Otherwise, employees may never be able to sue their employers when maltreated, or a tenant his landlord when maltreated, or vice versa.
As a loyal and very humble servant, like I said before, I said I'm Chief Enogie Enogie, and by the magnanimity and the fatherly disposition of His Royal Majesty, I am the Oba of Benin. Okay? So I'm not answerable to any government.
Sure you are, bro.
Government comes and goes, but His Royal Majesty, the palace, has come to stay. It's the oldest kingdom ever, and I can't stand aloof to watch anything that will at least in any way that will in any way touch or reduce the image of the palace. So I don't have any iron or stone to grind with the government or with any other institution you're talking about, rather, but with the two chiefs who instituted this case. You understand me? Because they are royal chiefs, they are chiefs. So if you append His Royal Highness to it, maybe that's one of the things that make their head go swollen. You understand me? If you are a loyal subject and humble to the institution that made you the duke over your dukedom, the dukedom that you supersede for his palace, then you must, at least in all ramifications, be very loyal and humble to that same institution that made you what you are.
I think these traditions and laws should be updated to accommodate the jurisdiction of the monarch and of the state government. Else the courts would have to interpret the current laws and make a decision based on that, and that would create a precedent.
Today is a case between the palace and Godwin.
Tony Adon, aka Professor Kabaka, my guy. The state government has distanced themselves from any involvement, and it is the dukes that are suing, not the government.
They said they don't have case with the Oba. Why are we here? Why is court sitting?
These are apparently rumors circulating that the Edo State government had sued the Oba and summoned him to court. The Edo State government released a press statement that it has no lawsuit against the Oba, and in fact, it is a defendant in the case. Well, perhaps it is just a front, as it is not clear why they are a defendant at all. And on the other hand, a defendant can be sued for the sole purpose of strengthening the plaintiff's case. But somehow this whole thing smells funny. When the suit came for hearing in court, the presiding judge admitted the Benin Traditional Council as a party in the suit to become the third defendant alongside the state government and Oba Ewuare II. I do not know why the plaintiffs were against this, as this should also help their cases. But the case has been adjourned to the 15th of July 2024. This is the statement from the Commissioner of Communication and Orientation.
It is sad and painful that the matter, which is essentially amongst brothers, are degenerated to the point of litigation.
I concur.
The government hereby appeals to all parties in the matter, being blood brothers, blood relatives, to work together and withdraw the matter from the court and begin a process of dialogue towards the amicable resolution of the issues in the interest of the sanctity of our most respected traditional institution.
This is exactly what I expect the government to do.
I came back, as you know, from the trip 2 days ago and decided to come and commence that process by meeting with the aggrieved Enigies who have gone to court to see what the issues really are.
We all want to know badly what these issues are
and how they can be amicably resolved.
I still prefer a court case to really know the outcome that would create a precedence so that it is clear for everyone in future.
The truth is that we have issue with His Majesty, who is the head of the traditional institution, and those issues have to be resolved if any settlement is going to be made. And we welcome any intervention from any source. For the point of correction, we have taken not only His Majesty to court, we've also taken the governor, that is the government, to court.
I wonder why the governor standing beside you was sued. He seems to have no idea and intends to even resolve a case between you and the Oba. I would like to get my hands on that court paper statement of claim.
So the issue of people saying that it is the governor using us to fight the traditional institution is completely incorrect. We will address a full press conference on the issues. There are very many issues that have to be resolved before we can agree to any settlement out of court.
I am looking forward to that press conference to know what went wrong from the horse's mouth. Since the gubernatorial elections are around the corner, this is not what the Benin people need right now. But the support for the Oba and the royal house is unbroken, as hundreds of palace chiefs, priests and priestesses, members of the public and the royal house, and sons and daughters of Benin flocked the High Court ground along Sapele Road to hear the case. The Benin people have a rich cultural history and heritage, and a vibrant culture dating back to the 12th century or earlier. People, tourists, pay a whole lot of money to see these preserved cultures in other countries. This is something we definitely have to preserve. Do you think the crown was disrespected or compromised? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Cheers! If you like such videos, please like, share and subscribe to get similar videos and updates when I post them. If you would like me to review similar videos, send them to me and I will do just that. Thank you.